Hi everyone, welcome to Engineering Mastering Made Simple channel. Today going to discuss about developing on algorithm, flowchart and pseudocode. What is an algorithm? An algorithm is a step-by-step procedure to solve a problem. Characteristics: input takes the input that means of feed the data to through input devices like mouse, keyboard and scanner, cameras. These are the devices, input devices. Output produce the result. Definities: steps are clear and unambiguous. Finiteness: end after finite steps. Effectiveness: each steps is simple and executable. Definiteness: steps are clear and unambiguous. These are the steps and followed to develop a clear procedure and to involve all the process. Step to develop on algorithm. Understand the problem to identify the inputs and outputs. Break into the smaller steps. Write the logical sequence. Test with the sample data. What is the understand the problem? What is the problem definition? That's a understand the problem. What is the input data? What is the customer requirement? These are the things are understand the problem. To identify the inputs and the outputs. The based on the problem to what are the things to feed the input data into the system or software systems. What is output? Based on the input to generate the output. So different form of data and break into the small steps. Easy to develop a software applications to integrate the applications, software applications. Write the logical sequence, the means of execution of the code. These all the four steps once completed to test the applications with the sample input data. First largest of two numbers algorithm. Start, read two numbers a and b. If a greater than b, print a, else print b and stop. This is an example for how can able to write the algorithms in the C program. This is an example algorithm. Compare the two numbers to find out which one is greater than the second one. First one is compare with the second one number. What are the two possible conditions? Here used the if statement and finally need to stop the execution. Flowchart. Second one is a flowchart. What is a flowchart? Flowchart, that means of flow of the execution to represent the graphical view. A flowchart is a graphical representation of on algorithm. Common symbols. It's already defined some set of symbols used what process to indicate the represent based on the shapes of graphical representation, like symbol diagonal, oval, start and stop, polygram, input output, rectangle, process, diamond, decision, arrow, flow line. Example flowchart, largest of two numbers. Start, input a and b, compare a greater than or b, question mark a, if yes the print a, if no print b. Finally stop the process. Third one is a pseudocode. What is a pseudocode? Pseudocode is a simple and a human readable representation of a algorithm using programming like structure, features, no strict syntax, easy to convert into the code, user keywords like if, else, while. Example, largest of two numbers pseudocode. Begin, read a comma b. If a greater than b, then print a, else print b, and if end. This is a sample code for to find the largest of two numbers. Begin, that means of code starting. Read means once feed to the input. To accept the input, two input can able to accept. If a greater than b, just compare the input, and if a is greater than, print a, otherwise b is greater than, a is smaller. And if, close the end if, if statement like and if, and finally start the process end. Difference between algorithm, flowchart, and pseudocode. Algorithm, flowchart, pseudocode. Text step followed the algorithm. Flowchart, diagrammatic representation. Pseudocode, structured text. Unstructured steps, algorithm, but structured steps, pseudocode. Flowchart is a diagrammatic representation. Moderate, easy, very easy. Human can able to understand algorithm is moderately understand, but very easily understand the flowchart. It's a graphical diagrammatic representation, that's why can able to understand very easily. And pseudocode is a very easy to understand, human readable. Planning, how can run or how can execution in the steps. There is a planning of code or execution steps. Visualization, to graphical representation, visualization, and coding preparation. This is pseudocode. This is an example for flowchart and pseudocode. Start. Number plus 3. Number initialized given the value of 3. X initially gives the value 1. Output, the result is even previous steps missed. Deciding the whether to loop again correctly. If not yet looped 7 times. Increasing by x by 1 if appropriate. Looping for the correct position in the algorithm. If appropriate, stepping if one and if the loop already repeated 7 times. And first initialize x equal to 1, print x is asterisk main, and to check the conditions yes or no. If it is true means just print, or otherwise end, stop. Here is mentioned yes means end and no means print. Again and again just increase the value and go to the condition to check up to end of the program. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe my channel.